Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Jazakumullah khair for being here. Today we are just going to have a different kind of session for you, different than what you usually have at Saturday school. And it's going to be about something called Islamophobia. So I want to see from you, young people, anyone knows what the word Islamophobia means? Yes. Mm-hmm. You heard it. Okay, yes. The fear of Islam, yes, well done. And it also includes the fear of who? Also. So it is the fear of Islam, you're right. And fear of terrorists, yes, right. Fear of also who in general? Yes. Fear of Allah? No, not in this one. No. No, and it's not the fear of Muhammad also, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But it's also because it's a fear of Islam, it's a fear of Muslims. Okay? So we are going to divide into groups, and we're going to have a discussion after I divide you into groups about the Islamophobia and its effect on us, on our community. How many of you go to public school? Okay. How many of you have been told, something that is related to terrorism? Some of your friends maybe have said something to you about that. Okay, can you tell us what did you hear? Yes, there are people who are saying that Muslims are dangerous. And so you had someone actually tell you that? Okay, do you mind telling us who told you that? No, don't give us the name. Don't give us the name. Is it someone in, someone in your classroom or someone in your classroom? Okay. Anyone else had something being told to you because you're a Muslim and, yes? So he was saying that all the Muslim terrorists are Muslims. And what did you take that to mean from him? That oh, okay, so he meant it that he believes that when these Muslim terrorists did what they did it because actually Islam truly tells them to do this. Or something like that. And you wanted to make very clear to him that Islam is not approving of what they're doing. Is that kind of where you were? Okay. What must have been very difficult for you to be in the classroom when they were also agreeing with him? No? No? Okay. Okay. So we're going to go ahead actually and divide you into groups, and this is how we're going to do it. And Amina's going to help me, right? Amina, come up here. Come up here. I need you. Okay. Actually, I'm going to have you count off to 4 because I actually want you to mingle with other kids beside your friends group. Group 1, you are going to respond to this prompt, which is, why would some people actually attack, resent, or harm Muslims? And no answers in all of your groups. There are no answers that will be right or wrong. Okay, just write whatever comes to your mind. And we'll come around and help you, okay? So everyone who's group 1, or wait until I say all the groups. Okay, so this is 1. So let's mark it. Amina, can you mark them? So this is 1. Okay, and group 2 is going to be, what can you do if you are being attacked or harmed at school? Okay, so this is group 2. You're gonna give us answers as to what you're gonna do. And group 3, you are going to say, you're going to respond to how are some students attacking or harming other Muslims in the school. So we want you to give us examples of how this is happening. This is group 3. And this is 3. Okay. And 4 is going to do, what would you do if you are actually seeing someone being bullied around you? Let me see a show of hands. If you understand what the word bullying, raise your hand. Okay, so actually most of you understand what the word bullying is. So the last question here, group 4, is going to say, what would you do if someone is being bullied? So not you, someone else is being bullied. And that would be group 4. Okay, so can I have a leader from group 1, please? Okay, can I have a leader from group 2? Are you 2? Okay, please. Can I have a leader for group 3? Please. And can I have a leader for group 4? Are you in 4? Yes. Okay, here you go. So this one. Okay, so please follow your leader to one corner of the room, and I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to brainstorm. So, okay. So in your group, I'm so sorry to have scared you. In your group, I need you to choose 2 people who are willing to come up to the front and read the post. You choose. I'm not going to. You guys figure it out amongst yourself. We need 2. We need 2 from each group to come up and read the paper. And when you are ready, I would like you please to go back and take a seat. We have group number 3, and their prompt is, how are some students attacking or harming Muslims in the school just because they are Muslims? And so we're going to listen to what the group had to say, inshallah. Okay, let's see. We don't have any other mic, right? So I'm just going to use this. Go ahead.
They refuse to be partners with you as
They go in a gang and start like bullying you.
They leave people out of things. What is that?
Yeah, they give like Muslims bad looks and glares.
Everybody runs away thinking you're gonna bomb.
Okay, wow, these are powerful things. Whoa. Okay. Thank you. Thank you both. Anyone else would like to share with us other incidents that haven't been mentioned? You guys didn't hear them? Oh, this is not working? Okay, so refusing to be partners with the Muslim students at school, ganging up and bullying up Muslims, leaving people out of things. So I'm guessing that would be maybe leaving Muslims out of basketball groups or lunch groups or group projects even. Okay, and giving Muslims bad looks and glares. I've had my share of these myself. Everybody runs away thinking that you're gonna bomb them. So people are scared of you, and they don't know how to, interact with you. Anyone, actually, let's do shall we do the 2 stories at the end, or you can do them now? Okay, so shall we begin with your son? Please. Oh. So please introduce yourself and tell the group what happened to you and how did you handle the situation. Listen carefully, please. So, and introduce yourself. Give your name.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Adam Bashandi, and
For those of you who don't know, he is Adita's son, the principal's son. Okay?
And someone has been talking bad about my religion once at school.
What was he saying?
He said that all Muslims are terrorists and ISIS.
And he said you're a Muslim.
And he knew that I was a Muslim too.
So what did you do?
And so I defended my religion.
Can you tell us how? Yeah? How did you defend your religion? What did you do?
What did you say to him?
By saying that Muslims are a religion of peace
Well done.
and war. Muslims are a religion of peace, not war. And not all Muslims are ISIS.
And then what did you do?
And then I told an adult
Who was the adult?
My parent and then the teacher.
Okay, and when you told your mom in the beginning, what did mom tell you in the beginning?
In the beginning, I didn't want him to get in trouble, so I said no. But then,
You said no to mom going to school and saying something.
yeah, and telling the principals or adults. But then my relatives told me that I should, so I told my mom to.
To go to school.
And
And so what happened after mom went to school?
he stopped.
How?
He didn't talk about my religion badly anymore.
So how did that happen? Do you know what happened? I mean, how was he able to stop?
Well, he didn't want to get in trouble again.
So I'm guessing, because I think I heard from your mom is that your teacher talked to him after, your mom talked to your teacher,
Yes.
and then the teacher talked to him, and the teacher, if I understood also from your mom, talked to his parents as well? Or you don't know?
Yes.
Oh, so the teacher talked to him, talked to his parents, and the teacher also apologized to Adita and her son. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Sincerely appreciate you sharing. A big hand, please. Okay, so let's go to, let's see, we did what are people doing. Let's go ahead and go to the group that is saying, what can you do? I think it's group 2. So can we have you come up, please? What can you do if you are being attacked or harmed at school? Here you go. I'll hold this for you so you guys can actually hold the mic. Here, yeah.
We said if you were being attacked or harmed at school, you could tell a trusted adult.
You can tell them to stop kindly.
So let me add one piece with the stop. When someone is, harming you, you look them in the eye, even when you're so scared inside. Because most probably, when you're attacked or someone is making fun of you, you will be scared. And this is normal. It's very normal to be scared. Courage is basically you being able to stand up and do something even when you're feeling the fear inside you. So look them in the eye. You have no idea how powerful it is to look people in the eye and say what you have to say. You don't have to give them a lecture. Just look them in the eye and say, stop. This is unacceptable. Okay?
You can stand up and defend your religion.
Kind of like, Adam. What Adam told us he did.
You can tell someone you trust.
You could tell them that your religion is about peace.
You can ignore them.
Sometimes, actually, this is the best policy, is just to ignore and walk away, depending on the situation. Okay?
And you can just walk away.
Yes, absolutely. That's it? Yeah? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, yeah. You're beautiful. Anything else? Anyone else would like to add to what you can do that wasn't mentioned already? Anything else that you can do? Of course, if the situation becomes really, complicated, then you can involve, the police. There are legal venues to actually handle situations like this. But it's always important to begin first by talking to the person who is, attacking you or harming you. Again, depending on the situation. Let's assume, let me just throw this. Like in the first group, they said they can gang up on you and bully you, okay? So let's assume like you have a group of 5 people who are just kind of like attacking you and you're all by yourself, okay? So you will have to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. It could be running, it could be really screaming, it could be fighting back. We don't know what the situation you're gonna be in, but just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Okay. Let's see. Group. This one is why would people, and this one. Yes, let's do group number 1. Thank you. Go, and I will hold the paper. Okay.
You want to go first?
So our question was, why would some people attack, resent, or harm Muslims? Because they might think that they are dangerous.
They think that they're terrorists.
The people are scared from us.
They don't know how those people are different from Muslims.
You mean the terrorist? Yeah.
They strongly dislike Muslims.
People think all of Muslims are part of ISIS.
Very true. This is it here? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Give them a hand, please. That's okay. Of course, you know that when people have the wrong understanding about Muslims, it's because they don't understand Islam. You know that, right? We Muslims know Islam, or hopefully we know Islam. Hopefully we know that ISIS and what ISIS is doing is definitely against Islam, and it's not Islam, it's not the proper Islam, it's not the right Islam, and I hope that every one of you understands that, okay? So, but people who hate us just because we are Muslims, they do not fully understand Islam. So before we go into the last group, I want to ask you young people, how do you think we can change people's ideas and people's understanding about us Muslims? Is this gonna be, can we pull it? Oh, yeah, just so I can. Okay, come up and tell us, give us your idea.
We can do good things so they think that Muslims are nice.
Can you give me an example of one good thing that we can do?
You can help them out in class or something.
This is so true. If you are seen in the classroom as the helpful student, people will like you. And by extension, they're going to go like, oh, ISIS is bad, but, you know, Ahmed is actually really helpful in the classroom. So then it could mean that some Muslims are actually good. Yes. Okay, what else can you do? Yes, come up here, please.
You could give them an English version of Quran so they can read themselves.
Very nice. I will just add to this one. Make sure you ask them if they want to get the Quran first. Okay? Because, no, seriously, I get irritated when, you know, I get people knocking at my door and telling me, you know, they want to give me the Bible when, you know, I don't want to get the Bible at that moment. Okay? So just make sure that you ask them if they want to. Okay? Yes. And I think we had someone up there. Okay.
We could teach them about Islam because we fear the unknown.
How?
So like we could just talk to them about how the Quran is similar to the Bible.
Bravo. Well done. Yes. Come up, please.
You can recite them an ayah from the Quran and then later tell them what that ayah means.
Nice. What else can we do? Please come up.
It's really important to set a good example for Muslims, because if you're bad, then they're going to be like, oh, I was right. They are bad.
So tell me, what are some of the bad things that we could do that could actually give people the wrong idea?
Just being, like, having bad character and treating people badly. So you should treat people well.
Nice. Nice. Yes?
You can maybe tell them the difference between like ISIS and Muslims.
So what would you tell them? I'm 100% with you. Yes, you're right. So what would we tell them?
Like that like the difference between Muslims and how they're good and how ISIS is worse because like they kill and we don't kill, and then you can give them Quran to have like proof of that.
Okay, so tell them that when ISIS is killing people, innocent people, they're actually going against the Quran. Okay, nice.
And they're not really Muslim technically because they don't pray, they don't like believe in the Quran. I don't know what they believe.
Okay, so that's actually good. So maybe it's better to just say that what they're doing doesn't fit with Islam rather than go and say, you know, they're not Muslims. Okay, because the only being that can decide if someone is a Muslim or not is guess who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, it's not up to us. But we can definitely say that what ISIS is doing is against Islam. Anyone else also, please come up.
We can tell them like about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also about Allah, how kind Prophet Muhammad was, and about Allah's teachings.
Nice. Okay, yes?
We can tell them how like killing one man is like killing everyone in the world.
Do you know that this is an ayah in the Quran? Well done. You all heard what he said? This is an ayah in the Quran. Nice. Okay, yes.
We could tell them that Hitler was Christian, but that doesn't mean all Christians are bad. So if just one Muslim is bad, doesn't mean all.
Okay, they want you to say it louder because it seems like some people couldn't hear you. So say it louder.
Hitler was Christian, but that doesn't mean all Christians are bad. So same with Muslims.
Beautiful analogy. And you can also, for the young people here, do you know what KKK is? Okay, who knows what KKK is? Okay, so let's hear from Adam. Come.
KKK was a group of people who used to burn people who were black.
And they were Christians, okay? So for Americans, when you make the example of like, you wouldn't say that all Christians are KKK, and for us Muslims, we wouldn't say that all Muslims are ISIS. It's the same exact dynamic. Okay, they get it like that when you say, okay, the relationship between KKK and Christianity is exactly the same relationship between ISIS and Islam. And they go like, oh, yeah. Okay, well done, thank you. Okay, yes, Habibti.
There's an ayah in the Quran that says like don't kill Jews or Christians and don't really hurt them because they're like people of the book. So like the people are like killing people of other religions, so in the Quran it says not to.
Yes, because we do respect human life. I don't know if it's exactly like you're saying it, but yes, we do have that respect for human life. Okay, anyone else want to share with us what can we do to change the misunderstanding of non-Muslims about Islam? Anything else you want to add to that question? No? Okay, so let's have our last group. Okay, here you go. And I will hold the paper for you. So go ahead. And so say the question and then give us the answers.
So our question was, what would you do if someone is being bullied? And one of our answers were, tell the bully to stop and that it's not really their problem.
We can also inform a teacher or adult.
Befriend the victim or the person who's being bullied.
Keep calm and don't negotiate. Keep calm and negotiate.
Provide support and ask the bully why he or she is acting like that.
You guys are amazing. Wow. This is it. That's it? Yeah. Thank you. Let's give them a hand, please. Thank you. People who bully others are usually people who need to feel some kind of power and control. So they themselves are actually hurting and they have their own pain. So they're not, like necessarily 100% bad, but they're coming from pain, and that's why they go and, try to harm other people. Doesn't mean that what they're doing is right. I'm just, explaining where they're coming from. Okay, any questions before we end for the for our young people? Any questions from the young people? Anything you want to add from the young people? Yes, please.
If some people are at your school and they're talking bad about Muslims and they don't know what KKK is, and we tell them about it, if we don't tell them about it because we can't at school.
We can't tell them about KKK at school?
Yeah.
Are you, why?
What would we tell them then?
But why wouldn't we be able to tell them about KKK at school?
Because it's about killing and stuff like that.
No, but it's part of our history. It's part of our American history. Or maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. So explain to me more.
My principal doesn't like other people play fighting or anything, so they wouldn't allow them to talk about it.
So your principal has a policy against people talking about maybe fights and stuff like that? Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay, that's a very good question. And I'm not sure how to answer it honestly. Anyone else has a good idea on how to answer his question? Yes. Come up here so we can hear you.
Well, if they're making fun of you for ISIS, then they're technically breaking the school rules. So.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to answer the question, but it's really easy to just get rid of it by just alerting the principal that this is happening, and then.
Okay. So that would be your suggestion in that particular situation. Okay. Is this good? Okay. Thank you. Yes, we have two people who want to share. So both of you come up and share what you would like to share. Yes.
Your school principal isn't listening to every single word that you say, and if it's something important, you could get away with just talking about it for a second.
So you're saying that if he were to say ISIS and Islam is exactly like KKK and Christianity?
Yeah,
he would be okay because...
Yeah, I mean, the principal is standing right there staring at you talking, so...
Okay. Okay, thank you. And how about for you?
Well, to answer his question, well, you could tell the principal, but what if the principal and all the teachers are busy, and you can't answer to anyone? So you could talk to your friend, or you could talk to your parents, maybe.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, any other questions from the young group? Any comments, any questions about our discussion? Anything you want to ask? This is your time. No? Okay. Can someone tell me why do we believe that what ISIS is doing is not Islamic? Yes. Come up here and tell me. Okay. Who wants to tell me? Okay, so Adam, and then we're coming to all three of you. Yes, Adam, come up here. Tell me.
Because when we say Assalamu alaikum, we're saying peace and blessings be upon you. Not anything like what ISIS is doing.
Which is what?
Killing and not having peace.
Yes, thank you. Okay, what else? Yes?
They think what they're doing is the right thing, but in the Quran it says about, how I said earlier, that killing one person is like killing everyone in the world.
Thank you. Yes.
Because, if you compare ISIS to the Quran, ISIS is, way worse. They kill people and all. And then the Quran says, we peace. And just like what Dean said, we mean peace, and we don't mean war.
We respect human
life.
Respect.
I mean, we're not against any religion. We don't kill people for no reason. We just live in peace. We don't
Nice.
Killed.
Very nice. Okay. Yes. Yes, you and then her.
They are doing wrong things because they are killing innocent people.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I was gonna say they were killing innocent people too, and they're also killing them. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yes, you're right. Thank you.
The prophet or our role model didn't want to fight.
Yes, so he only fought only when he had a very, very, very good reason. And ISIS does not have a very good reason right now to fight. Yes, thank you. Okay, yes? Come up here.
America has been in a lot of wars themselves. So just because other countries are having war doesn't mean they're bad.
That's a very good point. Thank you. Yes? Sorry, come here. Yeah.
They think like Allahu Akbar means like they're gonna like bomb the whole place, but it actually means like God is most great.
So we need to explain to non-Muslims what Allahu Akbar is, right? Yeah, nice. Okay, yes, Habibti.
If Islam represents peace, we should show that we're peaceful with others, and ISIS doesn't show that, since they are harming people and people are fearing them when they should seek comfort in Allah and the Muslims.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes?
I would say ISIS is fighting for something, but it's not. But they're not like fighting for the thing like Allah would want, or like I would say that ISIS would nearly be the opposite of Islam because they're fighting for violence and not peace, like Prophet Muhammad said.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, I think someone here, you had your hand up, right? No more? Okay, yes?
I have a response for that. I'm not saying that like ISIS is what they're doing is right, but like I think they're taking hostages and stuff to like gain more land.
To gain more, well,
and like take over and stuff.
Not only the hostages, they're just actually going into other towns and intimidating the people of the town and just having all these tortures. Yes, Habibti.
If someone were talking bad about Muslims, I just remind them not to always listen to the news, because if somebody Muslim does something bad, they're like, oh, terrorist. But then if someone Christian does something bad, they were drunk.
Yes. Okay, any other comments or questions from our young people? We're done? Okay? Okay. I think we're done.
Okay, so all of you at this time are dismissed. Thank you for participating. Raise your hand if you found this helpful. Okay? Does this give you some tools to help with things that are happening at school for you? Okay, thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhi wa 'azimi sultani wa salatu wa salam ala atyabil mursalin Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So I actually want to hear from you, because we only have a very short time together. What would be beneficial for you right now as a parent group? What would you like us to discuss, to share? What's significant to you? What's on your mind? So how do you respond properly to the children when they come to you as the parent and share with you what's going on at school? You know, yes? Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. What else, guys? Anything else you would like us to kind of like discuss? Yes. Excellent question, excellent question. So your question is about how do we go about teaching the Quran? Do we get them to read the whole Quran? And okay. Okay. Let's begin maybe with these three, I think, and because I don't think we will have actually a lot of time. So let's maybe begin with these, okay? So how to respond? Okay. We kind of are basically creating our own experience with this because there is no book where we can go and read the book and the book is going to tell us what to do, or so this is our own collective experience, and that's why it's very important for me to do interactive sessions by this, because by no means I'm the expert on this. We collectively are together as a community the experts on how to handle this. So how to respond? Adam, Adita's son, he already gave us one way of how to respond. So what did Adam do? First of all, he notified his mom. That was the first step, right? I mean, he told you that it happened. Did you actually ask him, or did he come to you and tell you?
He told me.
He told you.
Guess what's happening at school, Mom? And I said, what's happening?
Okay.
There's this kid at school who's telling me that I'm a terrorist and I'll be a terrorist.
Uh-huh.
And then I believe the kids in the classroom actually stood up for Adam.
Oh.
So there were kids in the playground who defended Adam and saying, what are you talking about? Does that mean that Adam's going to come bomb you? Or why are you saying these things? So the kids actually in the classroom started defending Adam, and then Adam would reach out to people that he trusted to defend his position with this child who kept, going back and forth with his statement.
So who did he reach out to?
They would go to the smartest kid in the school. So they call them, they have smart kids in the school.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
He's the smartest, so they go to their, authority figures in the playground.
And among the cohort of kids, so we're not talking adults now.
Now we're talking about, let's go to the authority who knows everything.
And that authority will speak on behalf of Adam?
Yeah, so he came to Adam's defense as well.
Was this something that the school established, or is this something that the kids?
They know who the not so intelligent kids are. They know who the sporty kids are. They know who the smart kids are. They know who the brainiacs. All the kids know this. It's already established within the school system.
Okay, that is amazing. So I'm gonna just have the friends, and then we're gonna call it. You called it smart kids.
That's what they do.
I know, because remember, not all of the items we're gonna brainstorm today are gonna fit for you. We're just gonna mention everything, and then you're gonna check and see what what works for you. So Adam's story gave us an example of how to respond. The first step was, though, that Adam actually went and told his mom. So in the question about the signs, if there is no family connection at home, Adam would not have gone to his mom and told her. Okay? So always, for me, the number one piece that is important in anything, whether the bullying, the Islamophobia, the drugs, the addictions, anything you want to talk about in the family, it's the family connection. That's my number one piece. If the family connection is in place, it doesn't mean you're not going to have problems. So like Adita had a problem, her son had a problem at school. But because they had the connection, they were able to deal with it together as a unified front. So if you take one thing away from today's session, it's going to be my invitation to you to make sure that you are really putting time and effort into your connection as a family. And that doesn't happen in vacuum. That means you actually must make it a priority. You cannot say, doing this, okay, making money is more important, or, volunteering or activism is more important. There is nothing that's going to substitute your own one-to-one connection with your own children. And it's done in the small things. We're not talking about taking them on vacation once a year. No, 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 no. We're talking on a daily basis of how are you connecting with your children. So it means having meals together. Is this a priority in your home? Or are the meals basically, okay, when the child comes back from school, he sits, watches TV and eating his meal, and you have your meal whenever? No. Meals have to be together. If for example, in my family situation, at some point in our life, my husband used to come late. But he used to come late just before, the kids would go to bed. So we shifted our dinner time so that we will have dinner time when my husband came home, okay? Because that was a priority. So that meant the kids will have a snack when they came back from school, and 7:38 was dinner time. Why? Just simply because it was very important to have dinners together. Okay, so figure out what is your situation, but really work towards that priority. So family dinners are a priority. Praying together are a priority. And how do you do it? Not by whining and nagging. So not by, oh, hey, we're going to pray. I'm waiting for you. Where are you? I'm always waiting for you. No. You simply establish that we're going to actually pray together in this family. And so when we do the iqama, and someone will have to do so, whoever is in charge in the parents. When we do the iqama, and you hear the iqama, it means we're actually going to go ahead and start praying. We are not going to be calling you. Think about it. Your home needs to be a mini masjid. In the masjid here, how do we know that we're going to pray? Does the sheikh or the imam go around, oh, okay, we're going to start praying, we're going to start. Does he do this? No. They do the iqama, and once you hear the iqama, you immediately know that the prayer is going to start. So do this at home, which means if they don't join you, right from the beginning, don't make an issue out of it. Does the imam go and make an issue out of everyone who doesn't join the prayer from the beginning? He does not. Okay? So just do the iqama, start prayers with the expectation that I am inviting you to, we and this family, we pray together. So dinners together, prayers together, activities together. So that includes real activities. That includes board games, going out on hikes, going out on, walks together as a family. Having family vacations. It does not have to be expensive. You can just do a simple family vacation every now and then. All of these small things, they're mundane, but they're so important for the family connection. Because if that is in place, you will be able to be supporting, you will be able to support your child no matter what the problem is. Okay? So let's go back. Yes? Yes. Are important. But then we also go back to family connection. I'll tell you why. Because if there is connection, the parent is actually aware of what is normal behavior from the child. If that connection isn't in place, you don't know your child, simply. Because, I could give you a list of signs, but what really matters is how is the child changing? And only the parent knows that, okay? Because we cannot encompass all the possible signs, okay, that you need to look for. But one thing you can definitely do, if you are engaged with your children, wallahi, I guarantee you, I've seen it every single time. When the parent is engaged with the child, and I'm talking about these small things, the one I mentioned to you like before, where you actually are there with them, so you're not absent. Okay? It doesn't mean you're spending 24/7 with them. No, it means that the kids know you are present. And you know what they know also? They know that for you, family is sacred. And they know that through the small things that you do in your daily life. So when the parent is engaged with the child, even if the child is an introvert, even in that situation, the parent knows their children like no one else. They could tell when something is changing. And that's what you need to look for. And when something is different than what you're used to about your child, because even within the same family, we have different children, right? So when you can tell that something is different, then the next step is going to be, if they're not telling you, and sharing with you, it's going to be, I have observed, I have noticed, da 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 da. Is something on your mind? Yes. And honestly, when there is really a good connection going on, even with an introvert, I find it very hard that they don't come and share. Maybe they will share only when it's a big deal. Okay, so they believe that they can manage the small stuff. It's okay. If they can manage the small stuff, fine, good to them, because that's going to build the resiliency. But again, I think you're going to be just frustrated with me saying family connection, because I really truly believe this is the foundational piece. Again, okay? And it's not about material things. Unfortunately, a lot of our Muslim parents focus on what they're giving their children, and they lack giving them time and attention. Or when they're with them, they're lecturing them and moralizing them. Okay, your children don't need lectures, they don't need moralizing. They just really need you to sit with them, enjoy them, play with them, respect what you're listening from them. Don't put down their ideas and, I remember my son when he was in 5th grade, he told me, Mom, when I grow up, I am going to be a video game programmer. Okay? So, and I'm like, oh, really? So how are you going to actually provide for yourself? And he said, oh, Mom, it's very simple. I can eat from McDonald's every day, and it's, if I buy my food from McDonald's, it's that much a month, and, if I, rent this small apartment, it's that much, so I'm going to be fine. So now, a traditional parent in this situation would go like, oh, that's stupid, that's ridiculous, you're smart, you can do more than that. What do you mean a video game programmer? That's crazy. I didn't do any of that stuff. And that's what your children actually need from you. And that particular child who was going to be a video game programmer ended up to be a computer science engineer. Okay? Not because I said you have to be like that. No, just by having that connection and communication and allowing him to figure his life. But see, I also asked him the question, which was important. So I didn't go and say, oh yeah, that's a great idea, yes. Because we have the other extreme of parents. They go like, everything their children want, we're not gonna actually argue with. Oh yes, video game program, no problem, yes, sure. You can do anything you wanna do. No. What's the reality? Reality of life is tough. Reality of life, we need to provide for ourselves. So that's why I asked the question, how are you going to provide for yourself? And you will have a family. You're the man. You have to provide for your children and your wife. How are you going to do it? So anyway, let's go back. So I really truly believe that if there is a good connection, okay, you can pick up on changes. And if you pick up on changes, then the first thing you're going to do is, if the child didn't come like Adam went to Adita and told her, you say, I noticed, what's on your mind? So most probably, if the child was resisting to come and tell you what's on their mind, they might tell you, oh, nothing is on my mind. And in that situation, I'm inviting you to really very clearly tell the child, okay, I don't know, my gut intuition, because you all have gut intuitions when it comes to your children, okay? You all do. My gut intuition is telling me something is going on. You don't want to tell me right now? That's perfectly fine. However, I just want you to know that if there is anything you need, I am here for you. And don't hesitate. And don't worry about getting in trouble. Because one of the main reasons why kids don't come and share with us is because they're so scared of our anger. I'm not necessarily in this situation, I'm talking in general. We being angry or upset or punished or what have you. Okay? So let's go back to responding. So, so you have your kids who are doing their own respond, okay? By going to their friends and their smart kids. Or you have the kids like in Adam's case, went to the mother and told the mother that this is happening. And Adita, may Allah bless her, she handled it beautifully because she asked Adam whether he wants her to go and talk to the teacher. You see the respect? You see the respect? Because she's kind of like telling Adam, okay, is this what you want me to do? And Adam in the beginning told her, no, I'm going to handle it. Okay, and what did Adita do? Again, she respected that. She didn't go on like, no, no, no. How is it I'm going to let you handle it? No, I'm going tomorrow to the school and I'm going to talk to the principal, and how could this happen? She allowed Adam to make a choice and make a decision, which is going to be a lifelong lesson for him in terms of being proactive, in terms of him believing that he's capable, in terms of like when his mom isn't around, he needs to take care of himself. It's a beautiful response on her part. Now, after it went on for some time, then Adam came to Adita and told her, now I need you to talk to the teacher. So you see the escalation, okay? So we start with something and then move up the ladder depending on the need of the situation. Then Adita intervened, and then the teacher, alhamdulillah, in this particular situation, was very respectful, okay, and handled the situation. Let's assume the teacher did not. You all heard about the situation in Texas, right? I can't remember his last name. The Somali-American Muhammad, the clock kid. Okay, but his first name I think is Muhammad. So Muhammad, but I don't remember his last name. So, and he's so proud. He was so proud of his project. And then we have an authority figure who actually suspected him. Correct? And the way they handled him as a terrorist, and he's such a young boy, the police coming and taking him without even informing his parents and so on. That's really, you know, if you think about it, a difficult situation. But I listened to the interview on NPR with the father of Muhammad. And Muhammad's father's attitude to this whole situation was empowering by itself. You know what? Because his father wasn't going like, oh, they all hate us, we're such victims. He didn't do the victim talk at all. And that's why Muhammad was able to actually handle the situation in a powerful way, because he didn't believe in himself as a victim. Okay? And then ultimately Muhammad told his father at some point that look at all the good that came out of this incident, because you know what happened. President Obama invited him, MIT invited him. So they took a negative experience, transformed it into something positive. But why? Because the attitude of the father was positive. The father was not victimizing Muhammad and was not victimizing himself. So are we? When we talk to our children, do we victimize ourselves? Do we say, poor us? Or do we go like, Alhamdulillah, we live in this beautiful country. Alhamdulillah, there is due process. Because what happened with Muhammad? Okay, what happened? It wasn't because his father interfered. That's why he was out of jail. Due process got him out of jail. Okay, why? Because they discovered that the clock, of course, didn't have a bomb, and then, he was released. So do we talk about how beautiful this country is? And how our rights are respected in this country, or we only talk about how much people hate us? Okay. So going back to the response, escalation. Think about it in that term. So don't go to the top of the ladder immediately. Just try and walk your way through, the different steps necessary depending on the situation. Again. My own daughter, when she was in middle school, she was wearing the hijab at that time. So, and subhanAllah, at that time I had the flu. So I really was out of it, seriously was out of it. And basically what happened is one boy in the playground actually pulled her hijab completely. And then, she and her friend, we talk about friends in the school, non-Muslim friend, both of them were running after him because, he pulled her hijab. Anyway, how they have lunch supervisors, so the lunch supervisors was involved, and, and then they, called them to the assistant principal and so on. I didn't know about what happened. You're talking about introverts and kids who keep things to themselves. So that's exactly what she did. She did not come home and tell me, you know, Mom, this is what happened. I heard about it from the assistant principal who called me and told me this is what happened and this is how we handled the situation. So basically, alhamdulillah, they brought the boy in. I don't know what they did with him, but anyway, they found him at fault. So when I found out, I'm like shocked because, she didn't tell me. So I'm like, Habibti, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, Mom, we handled it. And I'm like, okay, you handled it. So I didn't have to go to the school. I didn't have to follow up. I didn't do anything, okay? It's just you need to assess the situation and see what do you need to do while at the same time empowering your child, okay? Have we, do you think, finished the how to respond question, or do you feel there's more that needs to be said about it? Yes. So what do you think the due process is in the country?
It's not that, you're not going to be kicked out of the country, definitely, but for his age.
That's exactly.
Right? So, well, you know what, he's just doing it to get some points, get some crowds.
Exactly.
But those kids, they're really smart, they understand their own, even if you told.
So you're feeling that if we were to tell them, well, the due process in this country does not allow him to kick us, American citizens, okay, just because we're Muslims. There will have to be a major change to the Constitution, and the Congress has to approve it and not veto and then it will happen, right? So you believe if we were to tell him that or her that, they're not going to believe it.
In their own age, you talk about 7-year-old, they won't understand what that means. Oh, but this is the word here, this is my mom, my dad, there's no way that I'm going to lose my mom, my dad, just because some people are going to come and this because of.
Right.
So that's what it is. It's very hard to tell them about it. This is the right process.
Yeah.
But to tell them this, it's going to take more continuing process and understand. And I'm just afraid that by that time they're going to lose hope. That, what's my dad saying? That does not make sense at all, right? So I'm trying to find a proper answer, juvenile answer, I would say, to make you believe, you know what, this is propaganda, this is something that's happening. It's still, and unfortunately, kids, they listen to the news, they pass by, they hear.
Okay, so very good question. So the simplest answer to this question to a young child is to say the law would not allow him to kick us out of this country, okay? The second point that we have to actually make sure we are sharing with our children is we are the last in a chain of minority groups in this country that have been, marginalized, okay? And you share that with your kids. You tell them about the Japanese Americans. Japanese Americans were actually in camps. Can you believe this? And this wasn't too far away. We're not talking like 200 years ago. We're talking, World War II, okay, mid-20th century. Japanese Americans were in camps. So you tell them that. You say to them, even though we are really right now looked at as the bad minority, we are not in camps right now. This is by itself, okay, is true evidence for them as to the progression within this country, okay? And you mentioned other stories. Talk about the African Americans. African Americans until today, okay? They are being, marginalized. The scandal in Flint, Michigan, is horrible. Just because they are African Americans and maybe they don't have a voice, we can just feed them poisoned water? Is this acceptable? No, it's not acceptable. It's really shameful that it's happening in our country. So back to your question. Sorry, I go off on tangents. So the law doesn't allow it. We are the last in many minority groups that have been marginalized in this country. And so after a while, it's not going to be us, it's going to be someone else. And you talk about about roughly 60 years ago, the Japanese Americans were interned in camps, okay? And we are not in camps right now, okay? That should help them. One more thing also I want to say. I have found out that children are actually much more resilient than us. Okay? Okay. We assume that they worry so much about what's going on around because we are worried. But actually, kids, no. They don't worry as much as we do. And if they are worrying, the worrying is coming from us. So I am inviting you to watch what narrative are you giving to your children. Are you giving the victimization narrative? If you are, then you're definitely worrying them. Are you giving them that we have rights and we're going to stand up for our rights and we haven't done anything wrong? And this is one, this is trials and tribulations. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, did they have it? Was it easy for them? In the beginning of Islam? No, it wasn't easy for them. No. They were prejudiced against, they were attacked, they were killed, they were also marginalized. So why is it that we are shouting and we're crying out because of all of this that's happening to us when it's nothing compared to what's happening to people in other areas of the world? This is nothing to what's happening to the Syrians or what's happening in Afghanistan or choose any other country. Okay? So let's just put things in context. Okay? Let's not feed or be fueled by the negative rhetoric that's happening on the media. Okay? You should not be the first one to succumb to it. We're just being used as pawns right now in the political process. That's what, we're an easy target right now. Yes?
I just wanted to say that what I've noticed with some of the kids that come into the school and the way that they refer to themselves and their identity is very different from one family to the next. What the majority of the kids that attend this particular school, very few of them will say, I'm an American citizen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we have,
Can you use the mic maybe so people can hear you?
Yeah, so very few of the kids that attend our school identify themselves as an American. And whether you share this mentality or not with them at home, internally, this is what they've internalized. So they'll say, I'm Egyptian, or I'm Pakistani, or say they're Afghani like my kids. They say, I'm Afghani Egyptian, even though they're all born here. So I think it comes from our own perception and what we're giving to them at home. And I think it's very critical that you make sure that at home you're telling the children that you're an American citizen first and your parents come from Pakistan. You're not from India, you're from America. And I think that gives them a sense of empowerment that the laws and everything that comes with being a citizen of this country applies to me as well and not just my neighbors who are the white next door neighbors. This is critical because of what we're doing with the kids in the different classes is who are you? How do you identify yourself? Make sure you know that you're also an American, and as an American you have rights. And that's what we've noticed at the school here is that the kids identify themselves as wherever their parents came from. And that in and of itself gives them that victim mentality is that, Pakistan's being attacked or Afghanistan's being attacked, so America must be against Afghanistan or against this other country that's happening, and they don't identify themselves as an American citizen. So I think what we need to do ourselves is, yes, very truly, we are from different nations, but America was built on different nations coming here at different periods of time, and you are an American citizen, and you have the right to be here, and you have all of this. That's what we're trying to get the kids to understand. It's in the mission of the school that we're trying to have them, help them be, American Muslims and help them deal with this fact, but it really comes from what you tell them at home.
I sincerely appreciate this comment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to also refer you to, I think his name was Dean, the young man who said, if you kill one person, you've killed all humanity. I think he's Dean. His name is Dean. Okay, so where did Dean get this from? Most probably his family. And that's also a simple answer to respond to, ISIS and Islam. And it's an ayah in the Quran. And it's a very simple, it's just like simple. Yeah, ISIS, what ISIS is doing is not Islamic because killing one innocent life is just like killing all of humanity. And it's in the Quran. That's a powerful statement, and it's a very short statement like that, okay? Because there are so many nuances and so many intricacies with what ISIS is doing. And we're not going to be able to respond to all of them or explain all of them to our children, right? So we need to give them, like you were saying, simple answers. But there are simple answers to give. So one of them is this beautiful ayah to explain what ISIS is doing is not Islam. And refrain, please, from calling them non-Muslims or that they are not Muslims. Let's not fall into that trap. It's not in our hands. Okay, Allah is the one who knows. Maybe they will repent and then end, with, like beautiful Muslim conduct. Okay, it's not up to us. But you can define that their current behavior right now is not Islamic. Yes, and we need to be vocal about it too. Not only, we need to be very strongly, loudly vocal that this is not Islam. Okay. Respond, thinking, can you think of anything else that we need to say about how to respond that we haven't mentioned? I personally believe that when something happens, I believe you need to tell your children. So in simple terms, like if a terrorist attack happened, I want you to put your children down and say, well, Habibi, unfortunately, there was a terrorist attack conducted by Muslims in da-da-da, and this is what they did. And I want you to know. Why? Because I don't want them going to school and then hearing it from someone else at school. I want you to empower your children so they will have the information, they will have the facts, okay? And you're gonna say what they did was not Islamic. You have to say it, I don't know how many times you need to repeat it. Yes. I can imagine. Because you wanted to respect what the parents are sharing at home and what are the parents' rules, but at the same time, you have a different view about how it needs to be handled. You're right. So I think you handled it beautifully, okay? I'm gonna say that we as adults, okay, we actually fall on a spectrum of how we identify, okay? So most probably the parents are not publicly saying even they are Muslims. It is what it is in their family. It's okay. The girl is going to make her own choices as she goes through life. And she sees Muslims who are proud identifying as Muslims in public, and that's going to be another role model for her. And she will have to make the distinction. She will have to make the choice at some point. Does she follow what the parents are saying, or is she going to choose another way? So it is what it is. Yes. So you would like the parents to explain to the child why are they saying don't tell people that you are a Muslim? Yes. Yes. You're right. Absolutely. And then they can make their decisions later on in life. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So you're actually raising a very good point. Your children also are going to be different in how they respond, or whether they're going to stand up to things or defend or be active, and we need to just respect their individual differences in this. You do not need to say, okay, look at your brothers doing this, why aren't you doing this? Let's just respect how they want to handle different things, And with the news, just to give you, I as an adult, okay, in my 50s, I stopped watching the news after 9/11. I only read it or hear it, but I do not see it. So I'm putting this out there because, also different children have different sensitivities. So, and also be careful about kind of like what they're watching. I personally, and look at me in my 50s, I cannot, the images they are seared in my head. Okay? So I cannot watch the news. So just, kind of like assess things, on different levels. Okay. Then you let them watch. So you filter. You filter what you allow them to see. Okay. We're done with the response things? responding? Anything else about this? No? Okay. So the signs, we come to the signs, the question about signs. Again, the first, I think I've talked enough about this one. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it anyway. So basically, but based on this one, is you are going to look at what is unusual. Okay, that's your key. Because you know your child more than anyone else. So when you see something that is deviating a little bit from what is usual, you need to check in with your child. And you check in by saying, again, I noticed, I observed, is there something the matter? Is there something you would like to share with me? They want to share, alhamdulillah. They don't want to share, you say, okay, no problem. Just know that I'm here for you. If you need me for anything, I will be here for you. And don't be afraid of getting in trouble or being punished. Okay? Okay. So, like, you know, of course, I'm sure you all know there are dramatic signs, but I mean, I'm hoping you're going to catch it before it becomes, you know, dramatic. And it's not necessarily attached to, you know, Islamophobia, but your child refusing to go to school. Like in the morning, you're like waking them up, they don't want to go to school, and you see that this is actually happening. Okay, this is a red flag. Something is going on, and you have to get to the bottom of that. Okay? Another thing could be that you notice that your child is just very anxious, very agitated. Okay, something else is going on. You need to really get to the bottom of that as well. Okay? I can't think of any other dramatic signs pertaining to this one in particular. Can you think of anything, Adita? Any specific sign? Withdrawing, yeah. Yes. After 9/11, I didn't keep my kids at school. I just sent them to school, but I checked in with them after, you know, after they came home from school every day, like, how's school? Is everything okay? Is anyone harassing you? I actually were very blunt, okay? You could do that too. You could be very clear and blunt about it. Is anyone harassing you? Is anyone bothering you? Is anyone saying anything, you know, wrong to you or something? And and my kids assured me that the principal of the school at that time, they actually had what they call an assembly, an emergency assembly because of 9/11. And the principal spoke in terms of how, you know, we need to respect our Muslim students and no one is to kind of harass them or attack them just because they're Muslims. This was an initiative that the principal took on his own. None of the Muslims called and say, oh, poor us, we're going to be victims right now, you need to protect us. This was his own initiative. And the kids felt much more comfortable. If you listen to President Obama's address after the San Bernardino attacks, the attacks happened Thursday, Wednesday, and he had a speech on Sunday. If you really listen to it, that was an empowering speech for us. He spoke very well about American Muslims, okay? And he set the tone on how the country should behave. Of course, Donald Trump has a different agenda. So, but you get the point. Okay? Okay, so the last question that was raised was about the Quran. And what do we do with the Quran? I don't know if I have a good answer to that, honestly. I know that when I was taught Quran myself in Saudi Arabia, we were taught the first, if you will, I think the last 3 juz'u in the school, and then we were given specific verses from different chapters, okay? So we basically were not asked to read the whole Quran in the school, okay? But that became an individual choice. Everyone, you choose. But I know, for example, in the Indo-Pakistani community, mashallah, they have the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful practice of that teaching their children to read the whole Quran, Is it by the age of 7? Or what's the practice? Who's in that community? They start early, and then? So depending on the child. Okay. And what do you call the ceremony when they finish? Amin. Okay. Yeah. This is such a beautiful practice. Like, for example, I'm an Arab, right? The Arabs, we don't have this. We don't have this idea you sit and teach your Quran, just like I love how you guys, the Indo-Pakistani, have this practice in your community. Seriously beautiful. Anyway, so within that practice then, the kid is going to read the whole Quran. I personally feel, that we need to allow our kids to read the whole Quran. However, we need to also focus on explaining rather than focus on the memorizing piece. Because a lot of our kids, they memorize and we keep telling them you have to memorize, but they don't understand what they're reading. So let's make it more of an effort into understanding and also paying attention to the troublesome ayahs, because we have troublesome ayahs in the Quran, and not all of them are about the war. Some of them have to do with other things. And you need to explain these ayahs to the kids. As, according to their level, of course. You're not going to go into, like all the tafsir and Ibn Kathir said that and then, no. Okay, just choose one relevant tafsir that works for you, that explains it in a, in a good way, effective way, and share that with your children. So that would be my invitation. Why? The reason being is the Quran, the power of Quran it's in the collective chapters, in the collective surahs. Like if you listen to Jeffrey Lang, some of you know Jeffrey Lang? No? Okay, so he converted to Islam, I don't know how many years ago, but if you listen to the story of his conversion, it was based on reading the whole Quran. And it was based on really gaining that collective spirit from the Quran. So if we just choose bits and pieces from the Quran, we are robbing the children from really gaining that beautiful spirit. So my inclination would say that no, we do not actually filter or say read this and don't read this. This is the holy book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was revealed to all humanity. So allow them to read all of it without censorship, but make sure you're doing your part in explaining the difficult ayahs. Yes. So that's when you're explaining the ayah, you also give the context of the ayah. You're absolute. And so you explain the limits of applying the ayah. See, this is the problem. The problem is when we take the ayah out of context and apply it without limits. And then people come after us and say, oh, Quran says this. Okay, and then you go like, first, if you haven't, really read into this, you go like, oh my God, Quran says, okay, how do I explain this, right? So remember, the troublesome ayahs always have limits associated with them. But when people read them without understanding what are the limits that are associated with them, they take them at face value, okay, then it causes a lot of confusion and problems. Confusion. Mm-hmm. Of course. Yeah. Well done. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Or perpetrated by Muslims. Okay, it's because it's not in Islam. Yes. Yes. I will add to that one more piece, which is the religious tolerance in Islam, because we don't talk about this also maybe enough. And some people believe that if you are preaching religious tolerance in Islam, like as if you're being a traitor to Islam, as if you're not being a true Muslim. They don't understand that this is actually part and parcel of Islam. They think of it like, you can only be a Muslim. All of these people who are non-Muslims, they're just going to hell. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. In order for them. Right. You're absolutely right. The thing is, we cannot be lax in being proactive in teaching the points you are saying, just for one simple reason. Because our kids, if they misunderstand Islam, then it becomes very easy for them to be hooked through the internet into the misguided misunderstanding of Islam. Okay, like how is ISIS pulling people, how is ISIS pulling youth into their ranks? It's because the youth don't understand their faith. Okay? And sometimes this misunderstanding is also being, fostered at home. When the talk at home is about religious intolerance, or about Muslims being supreme, or about dismissing all other groups, or about, we are only the people who are going to heaven. What do you think the kids are going to take from that? It's very easy to leap, to jump into the ISIS, mentality. So we need to educate ourselves first and foremost in our faith. If we have any misunderstandings or any doubts, we need to educate ourselves, because whatever we have, whatever knowledge we have, that's what our children is going to have. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. You are absolutely right. If we can just respect other people and let them have their own journey, focus on our own journey, and be humble enough to know that Allah is the ultimate judge. Does any one of us know how we're going to fare? No one knows. So why do we have to say, oh no, I know I'm going to heaven, you're going to hell. Okay, I know I'm better than you. That's taking on the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to be humble and let go of that. And as you said, just focus on our journey, respect others, be tolerant of what people, as long as they're not, of course, stepping into your boundaries. Because from an Islamic point of view, you have to stand up for yourself when someone is actually intervening with your boundaries. But that's a different story. I think we can end here, inshallah, bismillah. May Allah protect you. May Allah protect your children. May Allah guide you and guide your children and keep us on the straight path. May Allah make the American Muslim community a strong, contributing, powerful segment of the American community. Jazakumullah khair. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.